Hello and welcome to Troubadour Reacts. My name is Kirk, and today we are going to be reacting to the new trailer that just dropped for the Odyssey by Christopher Nolan. And if you don't know, on my main education channel, Troubadour Channel, which I'll link to down below, I actually am going through my new translation for first-time readers of the Iliad for Homer's The Iliad. It's a translation of the Iliad. And I'm currently working on, I'm about a third of the way through translating of the Odyssey. I hope to have it done in time, at least an early version, done in time for the movie. But I'm very excited about this because I love Christopher Nolan. I'll talk a little bit more about that after the trailer. I have not seen the trailer. I'm excited to see it, so I wanted to see it with you. We'll watch the trailer. I'll try to keep as silent as possible, but I recommend you watching the trailer on your own first before you see this with me, I think, because I might talk a little bit. Okay, so let's just get into this, and then I will talk a little bit more about the Iliad, the Odyssey, why I'm excited about this, and what I think is some fun ways to engage with the work before and then having what I think are the right or proper expectations when going into the theater on July 17th. MPA. Did they lose an A recently? And I don't know about this. It used to be MPAA. Made. I always love that imagery, the syncope. Oh, wow. So that's got to be the Trojan War. Whoa.
After years of war.
Oh, it's got to be Agamemnon. He's kneeling. King.
No one could stand between my men. And home.
Telemachus. Penelope.
Not even me.
He does get in his own way sometimes. Trojan horse. Whoa! It was a scene like that in Dunkirk, actually. Oh, gosh. Oh, okay. Jeez.
Promise me you will come back.
Man of the people.
What if I can't?
Ooh. What if I can? Oh, I love what they did with the sound. They always do such a great job with the music, Nolan. Yeah, it sounds like the creaking of a hull, excuse me. It sounds like the creaking of a hull or something, but turned into almost a guttural, like throat voice sound of some ancient archaic beast or something like that. So, I mean, I'm excited for this. To me, it's going to be hard for Christopher Nolan to screw this up, in my opinion, for me personally. And here's why. One, most people go into these things with the right expectations. The people who go into them with the wrong expectations are the people who have foreknowledge. Like they kind of, if they've read the Iliad and the Odyssey, and they have some view of what it should be, they go into the movie with those expectations and they're inevitably going to be let down. So I've been translating these works and teaching them and reworking and thinking about them for most of my life. One of the things that I really encourage you to think about, if you do know the Iliad and the Odyssey, which if you're here, you probably do, if you're talking to me or listening to my video, that you understand the difference between a translation and a reimagining, a retelling. This is Christopher Nolan's Odyssey. Now, let me give you some quick context about this. Homer taught us how to do this. He taught not only the West, he taught the world how to do this. So Homer was not a compiler or a creator of the story. He took what were essentially hundreds, if not thousands of different stories that were told of the Trojan War, of this epic mythos within the Greek culture. All these stories that we don't have most of them. We have some of them. We don't know all the stories that were actually told at bards, by bards all over the Greek world, essentially the Mediterranean world. He took all of those and he reconfigured them in a particular way that, for a variety of reasons, got written down and then set into writing, for hundreds of years and then 1,000 years, even surviving the burning of the Library of Alexander, and written down over and over and over again in various ways and compiled from a variety of different sources. So my point is that he taught us this idea of taking stories from one source and completely making it something dramatically new. So he chooses only a few moments, like in the Iliad in particular, he chooses a few days, really, a couple days at the end of a 10-year war. In the Odyssey, he's doing something even grander in a certain sense in terms of storytelling, where he's actually going forward and backward and telling stories throughout time. And the book is really, the epic story is really about storytelling. I mean, that's one way to think about it, is Telemachus goes out onto a voyage to learn the story of his father. And even his father Odysseus over and over again is telling different stories. Sometimes he even gets in trouble because he wants to be the author of certain things. Like when he tells the Cyclops that it was him, and it was me, Odysseus, who has blinded you, when he could have gotten away at a certain moment. So there's all these things that are in the story that's about storytelling, which is really about selectivity, selecting the kinds of things that particular creator, author, literary writer, in this case, cinematic creator, is trying to convey in order to illustrate, to put in front of an audience a particular theme, vision, whatever it is that the artist is trying to accomplish. So the Homer of 8th century BC is accomplishing something a little bit different than Nolan of 2025. So Nolan is not going to give you a shot by shot or even close. He better not. That would be the one way he'd screw this up, is if he actually tries to depict everything in the epic, everything that Homer did in cinema, he's doing it wrong. He needs to take the essence of what he wants to convey in that story, and maybe even things from other sources in the Iliad or something, and create something dramatically new. That's the whole greatness of art, and that's the whole building of mythology and using mythology for different reasons. It doesn't make sense to just do the same exact thing over and over again. Just go to the original. And not to mention, it's not even possible to translate something from an original literary source into a cinematic source. It's completely different sources. You should never compare a movie to its book or a book to its movie. Those are fundamentally different things. And I see people doing this all the time, and it gets them in trouble. When you go into a movie, see the movie, and that's it. Forget the book. The book is completely separate. It's a source material for a new creator to generate a new thing. Just like when people like Ovid are telling mythology stories, and they even tell stories of Odysseus and Ajax and others as well. This is hundreds of years after Homer. Even when he's doing this in the early 1st century AD or end of the 1st century BC, when he's doing this and other people are doing this, they are taking stories that are also from Homer and other sources, and they're creating something new. So that's what I'm excited about. I like Christopher Nolan as a creator. I think his ability to manipulate time and to kind of compress time and the way that he plays with plot is very Homeric. You see that especially in the Odyssey. You see that kind of feeling of this building up of tension of the story of Telemachus. We don't even really see much about Odysseus. We hear about him, and then boom, we get Odysseus, and he's like crying on a beach somewhere looking out at Homer. Somewhere like, well, this is the great hero. And then we learn all this great, and it's such a fantastic back and forth and playing around with story. It's an amazing story. So I hope that with the power of cinema, which is the power of cinema allows you to manipulate mythologies more than any other medium, because it conveys an image intercuts between different images to create a meaning. And you can get this sense that they're on this long, arduous journey with, 4 or 5 shots under 4 or 5 minutes or something. And it might feel like hours or something like that. Or, we can get the sense that they're on a multi-year journey from just a couple minutes. That kind of truncation and expansion, I think, is really interesting. And I can imagine that of all the directors who can do that cinematically, nobody can beat Nolan. I don't think there's anybody who's more of a cinematic director today. Maybe, and I always forget his name, how to pronounce his name, but the Denis Villeneuve, the Dune director, he might be up there. But Nolan is one of the most cinematic. He's trying to make you feel it. And that's why I think you need to see it in the IMAX. I'm definitely going to see it in the IMAX. You could still get a good experience at home, I think. I've seen many of his movies at home and they're great. But when you have your first experience in a massive IMAX, hopefully it's loud as heck and you're in the moment and you're in that, like you're swept away on the sea, which is what he's trying to accomplish. That is part of the cinematic experience, and that will help you enjoy and really have that, great adventure story, to put it simply. Okay, so that was my first reaction to the Odyssey. Check out my translation of the Iliad, troubadour.studio/Iliad. I'm also doing a series of videos on the Iliad, book by book discussion. I think it would be great if more people read Homer's The Iliad and the Odyssey. So this next year, I'm doing some reading groups through troubadour.studio where we're going to read the Iliad and the Odyssey together. And I'm going to teach a lot about it and explain it. It's designed for first-timers. My hope is always to help first-timers get a great experience of great literature. Okay, I'll see you next time.